Continuing our reading in the World and Thorinn by Damon Knight, Chapter 10, Section 1. How Thornton entered a town of 7 towers and dissolved its enchantment by accident. The egg has a shell of stone which is coexistent and immensurable. All other substances spring from and return to this shell. The upper portion of the shell, or lucilucunar, is by turns bright that men may see, and dark that they may rest. The lower portion, or solum, is covered with a layer of earth, from which all rooted and crawling things arise, in which they are nourished in their season, and to which they return so that others may be engendered. The abiotic period. In the abiotic period, which endured immensurably until the beginning of the eobiotic times, the egg was empty, bare, and dark. There was no life nor motion in it, nor was any life or motion conceivable, possible, or preferable. The eobiotic period. At the opening of the eobiotic period, 9 dozen great gross years before the present era, the smooth shell of the egg became porous and pitted. This took 6 great gross years. Following this, the porous stone exuded vapors which became the air. This took 8 great gross years. Next, the stone crumbled and formed the solum, a process which took 4 great gross years. Then angiosperms appeared, both in the solum and in the lucilucunar. From these, all other rooted and crawling things developed by Abasis and Phyllogens. These processes consumed still another 8 great gross years. In all, the eobiotic era lasted 26 great gross years. The Paleobiotic period. At the beginning of the Paleobiotic period, the egg was substantially as we know it, but there was no higher life. Higher life now emerged in the form of coleomenthes, which perfused from the vesicles of the homunculacilium and manilillae. According to tradition, one of these coleomenthes, a worm named Rambatnit, declared himself ruler of the egg. Taking as his consort another worm named Dola, he reigned for 2 great gross years. Among his many descendants were the helminthes and the coleocentrites and the rodents, one of whom, Palak by name, slew and disposed Rambatnip in the year 14361. Palak and his consort Eula are credited with introducing the arts of music and weaving, hence the term palut for a brief garment or clout, and Palak-Eulithium mode for a kind of music no longer played. They reigned until 15350, when one of Palak's grandsons, a water vole named Cletus, gathered an army and laid siege to the palace. Palak, who loved luxury, was surprised and slain in his bath by Cletus, who thereupon assumed the throne and declared a great gross year. It was during Cletus's reign that the 9 books and the 3 oracles were composed and the Cletian games initiated. In 16153, Cletus awarded himself an epithet, the Golden, by which he is still known in some chronicles, and in 16790 he died under mysterious circumstances of which nothing is now known. After an interregnum, during which a flood carried away the tree posts of the palace and its outworks, a convocation known as the Broad Meadow Assembly chose as their new monarch a kingfisher named Wise and his wife, known as Yellow Hands. The Archaeobiotic period. After reigning for 7 great gross years, Wise determined to become a man, and henceforth was called Lembripatim. He begged Yellow Hands to become a woman and remain his wife, but she refused and went down into the bulrushes, where her descendants hunt fish to this day. Lebipaticum took another wife and ruled for 3 great gross years. He initiated the art of writing, reformed the 4 directions, and founded the great college. He was succeeded by his son, Telvigbigaram. The historical period. The first persons of whom authenticated written records have survived to the present day are two brothers named Am and Hem, who in the year of 63,794 disputed the rulership of the entire egg, being then the monarch of the East Kingdom and Hem of the West. For a time the struggle was equal, but had an artificer called Firebringer, who made for him certain devices, one of which was said to be a flame-breathing bladder, and another an artificial mole, which tunneling under the enemy's outworks caused him great destruction. Seeing that the contest went against him, Hem called on the services of another artificer, Redbird, who made for him comparable devices, and together the brothers and their armies wrought such devastation in the egg that after their final battle, in the autumn of 63,797, both kings and all their captains lay slain, and all their works leveled to the ground. After another interregnum, the survivors and their descendants agreed never to use such instruments again in war or peace. An early religious poem of this period, the Song of Closing, movingly depicts the moral earnestness of the survivors by means of an allegory in which they seal up the walls of the egg forever. In 63,893, the great college was reconstituted and the tree posts erected for the present corpus of knowledge. The names of the masters of the great college from that day to this are Lobeck, Morblem, Bintan, Winsin, Tenwin, Ponsin, Tenlan, Mistwin, Benlab, Finmore, Kentin, Tabeck, Venvenkin, Windesh, Remtin, Benrosh, Bistfin, Sinpast, Roshkin, Pongras, Sinmar, Postwin, Tithek, Wishkin, Deshton, Gastab, Mismas, Rishtin, Betlab, Fitkek, Belnat, Findesh, Klankek, Betsin, Grasplan, Menchet, Lobnet, Niket, Finplan, Pashet, Sinzet, Miskan, Vatmas, Lestek, Detbrin, Rinfret, Tremnet, Winchet, Desfin, Ekros, Thetdret, Wetkin, Finnesh, Brinsin, Findesh, Relastin, Netmish, Lesmit, Restek, Rosnath. That's the end of section 1.